Before we do little dinosaurs, let me tell you a little bit about the basics of crocheting. I'm going to give you a demonstration with the main part of a baby dinosaur. Okay, make a magic loop first. Here we go. The magic loop is one of the hardest techniques in crochet, so if you don't make it the first few times, don't worry. Readjust yourself and come back. You'll make it eventually. Come on. We are going to hold the yarn tail in the dominant hand and then hold our non-dominant towards us. Then you're going to wrap the yarn once around your pinky. Now, the yarn tail is in front of your fingers. And then drape it over your index finger. Okay, now the yarn tail is behind the middle finger. Place the yarn tail in front of it. Then make a loop around the middle finger to create an X. Like this. Well, and then holding on to the intersection point with your thumb and your middle finger. In round 1, start with a chain stitch. Pick up the hook and I'm going to hold my hook with an overhand grip. Now we're going to insert the hook into the loop from front to back and spin the tip of the hook facing away from me. I'm going to grab onto that working yarn and I'm going to literally bring it back through the loop and twist it. While I'm doing so watch how my hook rotates. So now the tip of the hook is facing me. Okay, so that I now have a loop on the right side of all my yarn. You're gonna use your second finger to control what we say is the tension of the yarn. So how tight this piece of yarn is, this is gonna be really key to making really even crochet stitches. And also help you control the yarns, that you can more easily pull it through the loops. The loop is the exact size of the crochet hook. I can get the tip of my hook through it pretty easily. But if that's the case, it's too loose. This will make the dinosaur very shapeless. Push the index finger a little, so it's just the right size for the crochet hook to go through. Note that the hook must be easy to pass, otherwise it will be difficult to continue the work. Move on. And we are going to pull the yarn through loop on the hook. You're going to be putting the yarn over your hook, from the back to the front over the top of your hook. And then when I pull it through, I'm going to rotate the tip of the hook to face me again. That's a chain stitch. You can also use the second finger and the hook to control the size of this loop. The loop is the exact size of the crochet hook, which moves easily. Then we will make 6 single crochets in this loop. We are going to stick the hook from the front to the back of the loop. Now it should be able to let go and I have this loop staying intact. We want to hold on to this loop as well as the yarn tail with our thumb and our middle finger like so. Now, it looks like 3 strands of yarn on the hook. We are going to yarn over and bring that yarn under both the yarn tail and that side of the loop. So remember we're going to twist it up like so, past just those first 2 strands. Remember that when you bring that yarn over through and onto your hook you want to make sure that the 2 loops on your hook are roughly the same size. I recommend pulling your hook away from you by a lot, so that the loop for your hook is real big. In case you accidentally pull on the working yarn, then you won't lose any of your stitches. Now we're going to rotate my hook down a little bit, pull it through both loops on the hook. That's a single crochet, just like a V shape. I'm going to use a needle to show you where the V is. And you can see there is a V above the needle. And it is very important for you to use a stitch marker to mark the first stitch. It can help you figure out if you've ever made a mistake. Then you stick the stitch marker under the 2 top loops, under the V. Great. You have got it. Clip the marker closed. Let's see the back side of it. Then we're going to make 5 more single crochets. I've inserted the hook into the loop. Now I'm putting the yarn over the hook, from the top to the bottom, pulling it through. Bring the yarn up and bring your hook away from you. Note that the 2 loops on the crochet hook should be about the same size. Putting the yarn over the top of the hook from the top to the bottom. It looks like 3 strands of yarn on hook, and then pulling through 2 loops. Spin the hook a little bit down. The second one is done, so that there are 2 volts now. I'll also use a needle to show you. This is the second V. Okay, move on. Insert the hook into. Hook the yarn through the loop. Yarn over and pull through both loops. The third one is over. I'll stick the needle under the V again. Like this. Then in the next single crochet, I will show you how to solve the bifurcation of multiple strands if encountered. I will spilt the yarn with my hand. And you can see there are 4 strands of yarn in total. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate how a crochet hook gets stuck on some piece of yarn. Bring the yarn up. Well, just like this. If you encounter this situation, don't worry, it's not a problem with yarn quality. This is a normal occurrence of multiple strands. We just need to tighten the yarn by hand. Alright, let's do this again. Stick it in 2. Hook stuck into the yarn while winding. In this case, we can hook again. Pay attention to hook the whole yarn. Bring the yarn up and make 2 loops the same size. Rotate the tip of the hook, pull through 2 loops. The 4th one is over and there are 4 volts in total now. Move on. Stick it into again, hook yarn and pull up a loop. Then we will yarn over. Okay, in this position, we could get stuck when we rotate our hooks. This is the whole yarn. Let me show you how the hook stays on the yarn. I'll use my hands to help. Okay, we may have this situation. When we're in this situation, don't worry, do not rush to continue to do. All you have to do is drop the yarn and wind it again. Well, also pull it through the both loops. The 5th single crochet is done. So when we encounter this situation, don't worry, just pull out the yarn and recrochet 1 stitch. And don't worry about the quality. Okay, let's move to the 6th one. Pay attention to hook the yarn from left to right. And then bring the yarn up through the loop. 2 loops on hook. Then do a yarn over. It's important to get the direction right. You're gonna be putting the yarn over your hook, from the back to the front, over the top of your hook. The incorrect way to do it is this way. And it is wrong. Instead of the correct way, which is pushing the yarn away from you, putting the yarn over the top of the hook, from the top to the bottom, and then pulling through. Great, we've already made 6 single crochets. Now I will teach you how to count the stitches. We need to count from the mark stitch. I will use a needle to show you. I'll stick the needle under the first stitch. Just the marked stitch. Okay, then you can see there is a V shape above the needle. Such a V shape stands for 1 stitch. Well, move to the next stitch. The next V shape. Okay, then to the 3rd one. Stick it into the next V. The 4th. The 5th. The 6th. So that we can see we've already made 6 stitches in round 1. Now we are going to close the hole in center. Take the yarn tail with your left hand. And then pull on the yarn tail until there's no more hole. There. Then we will make a slip stitch to finish this round. Insert the hook into the first stitch of this round. 3 loops on hook. And we need to put the yarn tail above the hook. Yarn over and you simply pull it through the yarn tail and the stitch. We can mark the last stitch as well. I will put a needle under it. You can place a marker on it. Then put the hook under as well as the loop on your hook, and there you have it. Okay, this V is the last stitch. And I will show you the position of the slip stitch. Okay, just this V. Note that the slip stitch is not included in the general stitches. Well, then I will make a chain stitch as the beginning of round 2. Yarn over and pull it through the original loop on hook. I will use a needle to show you the position of it too. Stick the needle under the V we've just made. This is the chain stitch, and not included in the total number of the stitches too.